immediately.
Wow. What a shocker. I mean, you don't expect that here.
Well, that's true, but it's pretty ugly. I wondered at the time why it didn't take off a little more than it did, and quite frankly, there's some people at the Murfreesboro Police Department who and higher level people that should have suffered some consequences as well because the what happened there at I think it was Hopgood was just ridiculous. Never should have occurred.
Yeah, we can.
No.
Go ahead. Good morning, fellow Rotarians. It's a great day to be alive and be in Tennessee. So great to see everybody this morning. Tom Sizemore has our prayer and pledge today.
Good morning, everybody. I'd like to take a moment to remember that all religions are represented in the Rotary family. Let us also recall that when you're invited to join the Rotary, you were not asked, are you a Protestant, a Hindu, a Muslim, a Jew, a Catholic, a Buddhist, or a Sikh? You were not asked because all religions are welcome in the Rotary family. Please join me in a moment of reflection and thanks for these words. With our friends beside us and no person beneath us, with the bonds of Rotary between us and our worries behind us, with our goals before us and no task beyond us, with a thirst for knowledge and a dream of a polio-free world, we are thankful for our Rotary friends and the meal that we are sharing. Thank you. Shalom. Amen. Also, the pledge. Face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay.
True. Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? And is it beneficial to all concerned?
Okay. Great to see everybody here this morning. Sergeant at Arms, Brad, you have a report for us?
Good morning. This morning, we're doing very well. We have 19 plus 6 guests this morning, so we're pleased about that. And of course, online.
We have 13.
Hey, we're doing well, and thank you all for being here this morning.
Thank you, Brad. We'll have 13 on Zoom and over 20 some in the room. What a great day to be a Rotarian. We're going to open up now.
Sharon, I apologize. I just needed to mention those names real quick if I could. We have
absolutely
Stephen Selter, a guest of Tom Sizemore. Jody is back with us. Jody Haslam this morning. Amelia Bozeman is here with us this morning. And Basana, I'm sorry, I'm going to mess up your last name, but is it Ratanarath? Is that close? Okay. I should have let Phil pronounce your name. I'm sorry about that. We have Greg Lyles here this morning. And of course, we also have our guest speaker with us this morning. Sir, please remind me your name. I should have written that down. Mr. Trey Duke, and it's great to have you here, sir. We appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Brad, for that introduction, and welcome to our guest. Right now, we're going to go to Steve Dix and welcome and do a celebration for our birthdays.
Okay, if Riley's there and if Eloise is there, please stand up. Everybody ready? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Rotarians. Happy birthday to you.
you, Steve. You always bless us with the birthday songs.
Well,
Now,
apparently we had a little harmony going there too. That's all right.
a quartet, huh? Now we have an opportunity to fill the pantry of the Good Shepherd's Children's Home. Jean Marie has asked us this week if we can add Jello pudding and pudding cups to your list of supplies that can be dropped off at RAI Advisors right there on Church Street. So we've got their cereals from last week. This week we've got the Jello and pudding cups. Brooks, can you bring us a word about Foundation football?
Next week, I need to bring in some cheerleaders. So if anybody has connection to cheerleaders, we can do this a little bit better. Yale. Okay, Foundation football standings. Now it's getting into the heat of the season, and this is where it gets really exciting, especially in the top 5, because there's been a whole lot of changes, especially because we've had moments of silence for Steve Dix and Vanderbilt, but I think really we need one for Alabama. So yeah, that's what I thought we were going to get out of that one. But we've had definitely some ranking changes up here. But Faye Johnson is comfortably in the lead. Thank you to her Packers in this particular case. But Judy Powell, Brad Mankin, all kind of going along here. We have I'm sorry, I didn't even go to the bottom 5. Tom Sizemore is maintaining his lead to the bottom. So let's give him a hand, please. Yep. Yeah. And then Ewing, not too far above that. Rhonda, Taylor, and Bill. Unfortunately, those Western Kentucky folks are just, not doing so good this year. But you notice who's not represented on there? MTSU. That's just kind of sad, isn't it? Anyway, so but here's the grand winner. $1,700, almost $1,800 raised so far for the Rotary Foundation. So good job, Rotarians. Let's keep this going.
That's great news. Thank you, Brooks. You and Judy are helping us have a lot of fun this season with Foundation football. Bill Taylor, can you share with us what do you have planned for November 6th?
November the 6th is the Habitat for Humanity Cooking to Build. And we need volunteers for that. We do have 2 events that day. We have the Alzheimer's Walk and the Cooking to Build. So we'll divide and conquer on that day. It'll be great representation. There will be a Sign Up Genius that Patrick McMurtry is working on, and that'll be up and going, and we'll get that. That's fine. Okay, today or tomorrow, that'll be up. But I've got a sign-up sheet here if you'd like to do it, or you can call me. Now, here's the deal that we have. It's November the 6th. We need 5 people to cook chili. We've already got the chili recipe, and we'll have that for everybody. And there's 3 people that's already signed up. And then we'll need volunteers to work an hour-and-a-half shifts, 4 from 10:30 to 12, and then 4 from 12 to 1:30. And then we need another person to help me set up at 9 o'clock. So that's kind of what we have there. It's a lot of fun. Sharon, I think I've got that all covered, but if you are here today, come by and we'll sign you up on my scratch sheet and I'll transfer it to the Sign Up Genius. Or if you're online and you want to text me, my number is 615-294-5752. Thanks.
Good deal. Hey, Bill, we've got 13 more days to the golf scramble. I'm sure you and Greg have something to share with our members to prepare us. Greg is online. Greg, would you like to share an update?
Yes, I have the golf course in the background, give a little bit of theme going here. Wednesday, the 27th is the School of the Blind tournament. It's coming together nicely. We will need help with goodie bags. Bill Taylor leads that up, and they traditionally get together on that Monday before to stuff the goodie bags with all kinds of gifts. So if you are available Monday afternoon, reach out to Bill. Phil Barnett is in charge of the food. If you are available to help set up food, You can be there around 11 o'clock and help serve food. And then again, as later in the day around 4:30, 5 o'clock for the serving of appetizers. Does anybody have any hold signs or teams they would like to announce that they have gathered over the last week? I'd be happy to hear about those. Otherwise,
If there's still an opportunity to be a hold sponsor, I want to do that, and I don't know how. I admit to being challenged.
All right.
But if you still got room for a hold sponsor, Clarity wants to sponsor one for that. Was it $125?
It is. If you pull up the Rotary website, or the discussion that is sent by Taylor to how to log on to the Zoom meeting, the weekly updates, you'll see a button you can push that will download the brochure, and you can print it, and then you can fill out the form.
You mistake me for somebody technically competent. I'll bring a check next week. How's that?
You come to Belgium, drop off a check.
All right. That'll work.
Good deal. Well, being in a room full of Rotarians, we're often asked every year to participate in Tennessee Promise to try to mentor young students. This is the first year that Yolanda hasn't physically been in place, but I am for the first time going to take one student. If you're interested in being a sponsor for the fall 2022 year, just let me know, and I'll have more information in the connector for next week. Now, moving on to Jerry's team. You guys have done such a phenomenal job with our Jerry's team, but Steve Daniels is here to give you a little bit of a history. Jerry Scott is the reason why we have this Alzheimer's team, and he was one of our past presidents. I've asked Steve Daniels to give us a little bit of history on who Jerry Scott was.
I'd be happy to. Jerry Scott was a friend of mine, and my first dealings with Jerry he was a young circuit judge in about 1978, and he and I became friends. I was a judge in Rutherford County and followed his career. He and I both followed a similar track. We'd been in the military, and we stayed in the reserve. He was in the Air Force Reserve in the JAG. Ultimately, in the JAG, made a transition to the judiciary. He was on the Court of Criminal Appeals, and I was a similar situation in the Army with the Army JAG and the Army Judiciary. Then Jerry, when he decided to retire from the Court of Criminal Appeals, he and I worked together, and I invited him to move. He liked it. He and Ann moved here, and became the disciplinary counsel for the Court of Judiciary. So he had a long history in the judiciary of service. He joined the Rotary Club and continued that service. And unfortunately, Alzheimer's took his life too soon.
Steve, thank you. Well, our team is off to a great start. We've got several contributions. Thank you guys for contributing to the hat. Checks can go to Jim Batchelor there, or you can send them to Alzheimer's, but it would be nice if we kept it in our club. Just go to the website, to the Jerry's team, and make your donations. And if you like to walk, there's plenty of room. I'll give the meeting back to you, Steve, for the program.
Okay, thank you. I know most of you were so impressed that Greg Tidwell thought enough of this club to get up in the morning, put all his golfing gear over there, and go over to the golf course and film that event for us. That shows real Rotary commitment right there. So he told me last night he was going to be here, so I guess he had a change in plans. So anyway, thank you, Greg, for your dedication. Okay, without further ado, Don, you going to introduce our speaker this morning?
Good morning, everyone. We haven't had an education topic in a while, to my memory, and so I'm really delighted that we've got Dr. Trey Duke here today. Zillow listed factors that lead people to locate in an area, and 54% of those respondents said good quality school districts. And I think that's one of the reasons why we're so blessed to have him in the position that he's in. Back when he was named the director in the spring, I saw an article at murfreesborovoice.com, and I was impressed by one of his quotes. He said, "I knew I wanted to teach from an early age. I love the interaction with students and being able to play a small role in their lives." So as you can see here, he's got a very distinguished education background, a rapid ascent through the city school system. And Brooks, if you'll change me to the next slide. There we go. He's an MTSU product, and he's had lots of recognition for his success in his role. So please welcome Dr. Trey Duke.
Thank you. Good morning. See if I can share this real fast. All right. Good morning. I am so glad to be here, despite the fact that I saw Bill Taylor first thing. No, I said I would have known when Don asked me that. Bill, no, I appreciate Bill. Bill and I got to know each other when we were working out at the gym together, and trying to keep up with Bill is, early in the mornings, but it's good. I'm so glad to be here, and I'm glad to have a chance to talk about the great things going on in Murfreesboro City. I'm very glad to have Greg Lyles with me. He's our community engagement and community initiatives coordinator. Does great work connecting us. And we really feel like in Murfreesboro City, this is not our school system. It is truly the community's school system, truly a community school system. And we want to make sure that we continue that. And so I'm going to talk to you a little bit today, if I can get my technology to work. There we go, about what we're about here in Murfreesboro. And in Murfreesboro, this is kind of always what I start with when I talk about our school system. And we call this our circle of supports. What we really say here is this is everything that makes up our school system. But most importantly is hopefully what you notice is what's at the center of that. And that's the students. The students are at the center, surrounded by our principals, our support staff, our teachers who are working with those students every day. And then at the central office level, that's how we surround them. And my belief is really clear. If we want to make a better school system, it's really about strengthening the core of our circle. It's about making sure what happens in the middle and what happens in between a kid and a teacher and a principal is the best it can be. And we're so proud of that work we're doing in Murfreesboro City to make it happen. A little bit about me. I've been in education for about 18 years, spent 15 years of that in Rutherford County, had a myriad of jobs there. One of my dreams was to always open up my own school. And I had been a principal in the county, had worked at the central office, and felt like there was something new for me on the horizon. And they started building this big, beautiful school right next to my neighborhood. And so I called the late Dr. Gilbert. And if you know Dr. Gilbert, she was a great mentor to me. And I called Dr. Gilbert and I said, hey, I think I may be interested in applying for that principal job. And in true Dr. Gilbert fashion, the next day I was in her office, and about 3 days later, I was talking about opening a school. It was a great challenge when I opened up Salem, got to work with Brooks. He designed, and his team designed the best school mascot that has ever been done. So if you see the Salem, if you see the Salem mascot, that's Barker Crystal original right there. And then shortly after, I was there for about 2 years. When Dr. Gilbert unfortunately passed, and it led me to this new position of being able to take over as director of schools, which I'm so pleased to do. But I want to tell you a little bit about our district today and where we're heading, right? And again, kind of keep it very informal. If at any time you have questions, let me know. I'm a numbers guy, so let's talk about our district. We have 13 schools here. We are a K-6 district. There's only about 5 K-6 districts in the state. And I think that's incredibly important. And I really think it's what makes our school system so valuable to this district. Early elementary and early literacy, elementary age, that is such a foundational piece. What we know is that SAT scores, ACT scores, college preparation, advanced placement doesn't start when a kid goes into 9th grade. It starts with what happens in kindergarten, 1st and 2nd grade. What we know is that if a kid's not reading on grade level by 3rd grade, right? They're 4 times less likely to graduate. You add poverty to the mix and they're 13 times less likely to graduate. We know the greatest indicator to success in Algebra 1 is how they do with fractions in elementary school. Elementary education is critical to the success of our community. And what makes Murfreesboro City so special is we take all of our time and energy and resources into making sure that elementary education is as strong as it can be. And it really is what sets our community apart from so many others and why we are so successful. Now, show of hands, who went to a Murfreesboro City school? There you go. That's what I'm talking about, right? And some of the best went through there. So we currently have 13 schools. We have over 9,000 students. Right now, we're at 9,349 students enrolled. People think we're a small district, and I say we're small compared to our neighbors with Rutherford County, Metro Nashville, Williamson County, but we're actually the 25th largest school district in the state out of 149 school districts. So we like to say we are small enough to move quickly and to be agile, but we are large enough to take notice and for people to notice us. We are growing incredibly fast. Last year, we ended the year with 9,000 students. So to grow 349 students in a year, that's the size of some of our schools that we grew in a year. We have over 770 certified teachers, 1,900 total employees, and we are continue to see significant growth on that west side of town. When we talk about our school size, we talk about Salem, which I opened 3 years ago now. It's in its 3rd year. When we opened, Gary Anderson, who used to be over our program, said, we want you to hopefully open with 500 students. I opened with 700, had 900 year 2, and this year Salem's the largest school in the district with 1,100 students. In fact, our largest schools are all on that west side. And if you've driven down Veterans Parkway, you know there's much more coming. So we are preparing for that. But when I really think about numbers, this is what I'm most proud of. Last year, coming out of COVID, was an incredibly difficult year. We are so blessed that because of the size of our school district and because of what we focus on, we were open all year last year. When so many districts around the state were closed and kids were learning from home, we had that option for families, but we offered in-person options from day one, and our test results showed that. Even though yes, thank you. Even though nationally and across the state, scores declined, and ours unfortunately did go down in some areas, and that was expected. When you compare us to around the state, we're very proud. You can see we outperformed the state in math in every grade level. We outperformed the state in reading, language, arts in 4 out of 5 areas. 5 of our schools were level 5 schools, which is to say that's the highest ranking you can get. As a district, we were level 5 in every area. 2 of our schools were reward schools, which means they ranked in the top of the state, and we were an advancing school district. So after a very, very rough year, it showed our teachers were still committed. Our kids moved. And when you compare us to schools around the state, that we ended the year much better off than what many of our other school districts across the state did. Not only that, I want to point out the diversity of our district because Murfreesboro is changing in who we see. So we always say we're diverse in size. Our smallest school is 349 students. Our largest school, as I mentioned, is over 1,100. We are diverse in our demographics. You can look at those numbers right there. And what I always like to point out is that the majority of our students in Murfreesboro City are minority students. And we are always looking to think about, are we representing our students in our teaching force, in our administrative pool, and are we meeting the needs of our very diverse community? And we're also very diverse when it comes to poverty level. As a district, we have about 34% of our students that are receiving direct services from the government. That means whether it's food service, housing assistance, they're on TANF or WIC programs, 34% of them are qualifying for that. Over 50% of our students qualify for free or reduced lunch in some capacity, right? So we're looking at, we have very affluent areas in our community, and we have areas in our community where we have students who are living in poverty, and we're trying to meet those needs as well. So diversity really makes up Murfreesboro. I like to use that as a recruiting tool because I tell teachers, you want to teach in an urban setting, a suburban setting, a high poverty setting, an affluent setting, I have it all, right? You let me know, we can do that. We continue to see a growth in our English language learners. Over 10% of our students currently are English language learners, and over 14% of our students have a home language other than English right here in our district. So that's a little bit about us and who we are. Probably most importantly, as you know, we are still coming through COVID, and that's been an experience for us. When I took this job, I said, I'm joining as leader of this district post-COVID, and I was so excited about it. And boy, was I wrong, right? It was more difficult this year than probably we experienced last year. We had more kids within the first week of school. I'm sorry, the first 5 weeks of school. Our number of kids who were coming down as positive every week was higher, and sometimes 3 times higher than our highest week in the year before. It was absolutely incredible how quickly it was spreading through our schools. But we are very proud of a couple of things. Our numbers are decreasing rapidly, and we are being very transparent and communicate weekly. We have yet to have to close a school, and I'm very proud of that. Kids have to be in school, right? Not just because they need it instructionally, which they do. Kids have to be in school because parents have to go to work. And I think if COVID taught us anything, it's not that schools are babysitters, which we've been called in the past. It's that we are critically important to making sure our economy runs. I had 2 students myself who were quarantined multiple times, and I tell parents, my wife and I, both of who work, had very real conversations around a very real dinner table about what we were going to do the next day, because we had to go to work and our kids couldn't go to school. So our focus and my focus from day one is we've got to keep our schools open. We want to keep our kids safe, and we've been happy that we've been able to do that this year. One of the, I think, unfortunate side effects of all this is that schools have become a place, unfortunately, where this issue has been debated. How do we respond to COVID has somehow landed at the doors of the school. And if you've heard of school board meetings around, you've seen that, right? And I try and tell all the people in our community, for us, and I'm very blessed with a wonderful school board, it is not political for us as a school board. It is not an agenda we're trying to push. We're really just trying to keep our kids safe, and we're really just trying to keep our schools open. That's what it's about for us. And I'm very blessed in that when I think about the meetings we've had in our city compared to meetings across the state, it once again speaks to Murfreesboro and the people we have here, because all of our discussions have been so great. And all of our discussions have been so thoughtful, and we're really pleased. But that being said, I can tell you right now, there is no one who is more ready to be done with this than myself. As I think about this year, I like to point out there's 5 priorities we're really working on as a district this year. There's 5 things that we call our mission critical work that if we do nothing else, we have to do. The first, I'm wholly committed to raising our reading scores in this district. We saw a drop during COVID with our reading scores. And I know that it's critically important that if we do nothing else, when kids leave us in 5th or 6th grade, they have to be reading on grade level. It is the key to success for our students. And so I say it loud, I say it proud and unapologetically. My goal is for us to be one of the fastest growing districts in terms of reading scores in the state of Tennessee. We want our students to be reading. Our second goal is to get our students back to our math scores pre-pandemic. We had incredibly high math scores, but nationwide, we saw a very large drop through COVID. So we're gonna raise math back pre-pandemic. We are very proud in Murfreesboro City to continue to support the whole child. We have amazing investments in school social workers and school counselors, and working with agencies like Centerstone or STARS to provide counseling in our schools for our students who are in need, and continue to support the whole child. We want to make sure we have the best trained teachers in the state. And ultimately, we want to continue to focus on our science and our STEM. Oh, that's my timer. That's for me. We want to continue. Thought my sound was out. We want to continue to focus on our science program. Again, a highlight for us in Murfreesboro City has been our STEM program. 5 of our 13 schools have been recognized across the state as Tennessee STEM designated schools. And again, this is incredibly valuable when you think that we're an elementary only district. In most school districts across the state, STEM, which is science, technology, engineering, and math, and a comprehensive program that teaches those engineering process to kids is really reserved for middle school and high school students. But it was really a mission of Dr. Gilbert to say, we need to do this at the elementary level. And we need kindergartners in engineering. We need kindergartners working with science and technology. And because of that, 5 of 13 schools have received that designation. We have 3 more that we expect to see it in the next year. And my goal in our 5-year plan, all 13 of our schools in our entire district is STEM certified. If you're interested in that, I encourage you reach out to me. Go to a place like Overall Creek or Irma Siegel or Discovery School. Today at Overall, we're hosting the chamber as they come and they see the engineering that's happening with our kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders. It's incredibly important work. It's truly about making sure that when businesses come to Murfreesboro, they can see we are investing at an early age to make sure you have a workforce that you need. I'll end with this, and then I'll be happy to take questions. This is our slogan here in Murfreesboro City. What do we want? We want every teacher, every student, every principal, every cafeteria worker, every bus driver to say this: in Murfreesboro City, I am known, I am safe, I am challenged, and I am empowered. And we say that often. That's our goal. I am so proud of this community and the work we're doing. It's a pleasure to be here with you today, and I am happy to take any questions you may have about the great things we're doing. No COVID questions? That's usually what I get. Spare me the COVID question. Okay, like I said, it's going great. Our numbers are going down drastically. And, you know, I said, when we think about, of course, it's always been about the great mask debate. In our school system specifically, I have to remind people, it is 100% just our kids are so adaptable and they've made it work. We decreased our numbers by half 2 weeks after we implemented that, and we are ready to take them off. And so we are very hopeful that we have a vaccine. So if parents want to exercise that option, they have it, and we can really say we can move forward. Yes, sir. More this year than last year. Last year, I would say we were sending kids home, and we weren't seeing kids who were home getting sick. This year we have, but this year we got much better with our contact tracing. We went from last year, we were basically, if you were in a classroom, we'd send that whole classroom home. This year I said, we're going to a surgical scalpel, right? Meaning this person was sick. We're not sending everyone home. We're being very, very intentional with who we send home, and we cut that down drastically. So last year we may be sending home 15 kids for every positive case. This year on average, it's 3 for every positive case. So again, my goal is kids have to be in school. Kids have to be in school. Unfortunately, this year what we've seen is the kids who have gone home, many of them have gotten sick. Yeah. Yeah. I am so glad you asked that question, because this is a question I get a lot. Yeah, the question was curriculum. There's a lot of controversy over curriculum. Who decides that? And how does that get selected? Curriculum is a local decision. And I try and remind people, your school board is made up of members of this community, right? So our community is deciding that. It's made up with parent input. And I always remind people that just because we'll say Williamson County maybe has been in the news a lot for their curriculum, that was decided at their level. That is not a curriculum we're using in this district. And I'm not saying their curriculum is bad or good or anything like that, but again, it just shows a very neighboring district and we're using something different. I think sometimes because of the national news mentality that we have as a country, we think what is happening in one school, whether it's in a different state or in a district across on the other end of our state, is happening in our district, and it's not. So my message to parents are be involved, ask questions. I'm happy to answer any questions on curriculum, but please let's not make the assumption that because something is happening in one district, that it's happening here. Our school system should be a reflection of our community, and with locally elected school boards, teachers who live in this community, administrators who live in this community, parents who are engaged. We always include parents in the curriculum selection process. We want to keep it a reflection of our community. Yes. Yeah, we started planning for that early on last year because we knew we'd have to catch up kids. We offered a summer school program this year, and we said we wanted every student eligible who wanted to be in summer school to be in summer school. We had over 1,600 kids out of 9,000 participate in summer school. We're going to do it again next year as well. Incredibly important work. So we did that. We'll also have, in fact, next week, we launch a very intensive tutoring program after school. We've allocated funds to pay teachers, and our intention with tutoring is small groups, no more than 4 kids, focused on reading, making those gains there. And we'll have over 50 teachers provide tutoring before or after school to students this year. And that's actually for the next 3 years. We've budgeted that to do ongoing tutoring for the next 3 years to make sure it may take longer than 1 year to get caught up. We got happy teachers. We're very lucky with having MTSU in our back door. They're a great partner with us. Teaching shortages are a very real thing. We are not as impacted. We are impacted, but not as greatly as other districts because of our great relationship with MTSU. Absolutely. Thank you very much, guys.
Dr. Duke, we very much appreciate what you and your team do. I know one of the biggest assets of living in Murfreesboro, I have found in having 2 children go through the Murfreesboro City Schools and who got a tremendous education, is that one of the biggest recruiting opportunities we have here in Murfreesboro and Rutherford County is our school system. And we're all extremely proud of what you guys do and being a major part of what makes this city a great place to live. So we thank you very much. Sharon, do you have anything else that you want to share? Oh yeah, next week we're going to be in for a treat. We're going to have Chris Harmon with Costco. He's been really busy here the last couple of months, I understand. So we're going to have him. I hope he brings some samples and some free memberships, maybe. I don't know. So Sharon, do you have anything else? Any closing remarks?
You can take it away. I think you can close this out.
Bill Taylor, would you give us your phone number again, please?
Bill Taylor, your phone number.
Six 615-294-5752. 615-294-5752. And I'll take all sorts of
5752.
Yeah, 5752.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thanks, Reese.
Thank you.
Anybody else have anything? Let's have a great day being Rotarian.
You guys have a good one. Great meeting.